I'm a private investigator. I've got some books at Supermere. Inside, I have from the United States District Court of the District of Illinois.
Tiffany Henyard in court today over illegal appointments she allegedly made for several positions inside the village.
Tiffany Henyard, once a rising star in Illinois politics and self-styled as the super mayor of Dolton and Thornton Township Supervisor, now finds herself embroiled in a series of scandals that have unraveled her political career. Allegations of financial mismanagement and public outbursts have left her reputation in shambles. One of the most glaring controversies involves an eviction drama with her former landlord, Janetta Hall, who once supported Henyard but now claims she is owed $5,000 in back rent and late fees for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home rented to Henyard and her boyfriend, Cal Woods. Despite Henyard earning nearly $300,000 annually from her dual roles and Woods holding a high-pay township position, Hall alleges they haven't paid rent since August 2024. Adding to the controversy, Hall reports the property has been left in disrepair, with damaged walls, broken fixtures, and neglected maintenance jeopardizing her own financial stability. The rental dispute is emblematic of broader accusations of financial irresponsibility that have plagued Henyard's administration. Lavish spending has been a recurring theme, with critics pointing to taxpayer-funded trips, extravagant dining, and even a reported $40,000 Amazon shopping spree, all with little explanation or oversight. Accusations of financial mismanagement also include unpaid bills, missing financial reports, and the alleged misuse of public funds for personal expenses. In one particularly damning incident, Henyard reportedly charged thousands of dollars to township credit cards, covering luxury hotels and high-end meals. These allegations have fueled calls for accountability from residents and political opponents alike, with critics labeling Henyard's leadership as reckless and self-serving. Her administration has been accused of failing to prioritize the needs of Dolton residents. Public meetings often descend into chaos, with Henyard's supporters clashing with trustees, residents, and critics. Her combative style and fiery rhetoric have only added to the controversy, as she frequently accuses detractors of sabotage and conspiracy. The scandals are not limited to financial matters. Henyard's confrontational public persona has sparked widespread discontent in the community. Her leadership has been described as polarizing, with her refusal to address criticism further alienating residents. These controversies have overshadowed her initial promise as a political figure, leaving many to question how someone once seen as a beacon of hope for her community has become one of Illinois' most embattled politicians. The cumulative impact of these scandals has created an atmosphere of distrust and frustration among Dolton residents, who once believed in Henyard's leadership and are now demanding transparency and accountability. Meanwhile, Henyard's defiance in the face of mounting criticism only deepens the divide between her and the community she was elected to serve. As Henyard's political career appears to be in free fall, her ability to recover remains uncertain. What is clear, however, is that her tenure has become a cautionary tale of how unchecked ambition and alleged mismanagement can swiftly derail even the most promising political trajectories.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard has filed eviction papers. She says Henyard has not paid her rent.
Landlord Janetta Hall and her supporters allege that Tiffany Henyard pressured Hall into renting her home to Henyard and her boyfriend, Cal Woods. Initially, Hall had planned to lease the property to another family, but Henyard allegedly intervened, insisting that she needed the house. Feeling cornered, Hall reluctantly agreed to the arrangement, which soon spiraled into a nightmare. Hall claims the couple fell behind on payments and refused to pay a modest $200 rent increase tied to rising property taxes. From that point on, Hall alleges Henyard and Woods stopped paying rent altogether. To make matters worse, Hall says the couple changed the locks and garage code, barring her from accessing her own property. Feeling helpless and betrayed, Hall filed a lawsuit in late September. However, attempts by Cook County sheriffs to serve Henyard at her home or the village hall have been unsuccessful, leaving Hull in a frustrating limbo. She describes the ordeal as heartbreaking, particularly because she had previously supported Henyard's political campaigns. Despite the panic and stomping death march, karma. At some point you have to understand that karma is going to catch up to you. Just pay your rent. Hull lamented. Despite Hull's frustration, she has faced staunch defiance from Henyard, who has taken an aggressive stance against the eviction. Henyard has dismissed the legal process as illegitimate and vowed to retaliate, proclaiming, "I will be suing everybody tomorrow." As opposed to complimenting, Henyard repeatedly claimed the eviction was illegal. These dramatic declarations have come to epitomize Henyard's controversial leadership style, often characterized by deflecting blame and reframing criticism as personal attacks. Yet, this time, the consequences appear to be mounting. For Hull, the ordeal is deeply personal, not just as a landlord, but as someone who once believed in Henyard's potential as a leader. For Henyard, the legal battle adds to a growing list of scandals and controversies, threatening to derail her already faltering political career. Whether Henyard's defiance can withstand the increasing pressure remains uncertain, but for many observers, this latest episode feels like another chapter in a long saga of delayed accountability.
A new legal battle brewing in Dalton between the mayor and some village trustees.
As Adina Waldrop explains, it has a lot to do with two meetings held earlier.
Tiffany Henyard has characterized her recent loss at a local caucus as a calculated effort to block her path to re-election. According to Henyard, her opponent, Harris, manipulated the process by limiting access for her supporters while ensuring his own allies filled the venue. This created what Henyard and her backers viewed as an atmosphere of imbalance and injustice. In the aftermath of the defeat, Henyard delivered fiery rhetoric, refusing to accept the outcome. "They can't beat me. If they could beat me, they would have," she declared indignantly, painting herself as the victim of a coordinated political scheme. Despite her protests, the caucus outcome effectively ended her tenure as township supervisor, stripping her of one of the two powerful roles she had simultaneously held. For Henyard, the loss represents a significant blow to her political standing. However, her critics see it differently, interpreting the result as a long overdue reckoning for a leader whose administration has been plagued by scandals, allegations of financial mismanagement, and divisive tactics. To them, the caucus loss was less about political maneuvering and more about a community rejecting Henyard's leadership style and priorities. Henyard and her supporters, meanwhile, have decried the caucus process as illegitimate, framing it as part of a broader narrative of betrayal and conspiracy. The defeat, coupled with her ongoing eviction battle, paints the picture of a leader increasingly embattled and struggling to maintain her influence amid mounting crises. Once a dominant political figure, Henyard now finds herself fighting to preserve her legacy as challenges to her authority multiply. For her detractors, these events signal the beginning of the end for a contentious era of leadership, while for Henyard, they fuel her belief that she remains the target of forces determined to undermine her.
If she wants to run for supervisor again, it will have to be as a right.
The announcement of the results sparked a wave of celebration among Harris's supporters, with the room erupting in cheers. Some attendees even broke into the late 1960s anthem, "Na Na Hey Hey Kiss Him Goodbye," turning the moment into a symbolic and public rejection of Henyard's leadership. For Henyard, the outcome marked a dramatic low point in her tumultuous political career. Once a self-proclaimed supermayor, holding dual roles as mayor of Dalton and township supervisor of Thornton, she now finds herself a polarizing figure, dogged by allegations of financial mismanagement, misuse of public funds, and divisive leadership tactics. Henyard supporters decried the caucus outcome as a coordinated effort to oust her, while critics viewed it as a long-overdue reckoning for her controversial leadership. The scene underscored the deepening fractures within Thornton Township's political landscape, and signaled a sharp decline in Henyard's political fortunes. For Harris, the victory was not just a procedural triumph, but also a reflection of growing support for change among residents and party members weary of the scandals and controversies that had come to define Henyard's administration. The outcome represented a turning point, not only for Henyard's political trajectory, but also for the future of Thornton Township. As the dust settled, Harris's win symbolized the community's desire for new leadership, while Henyard's dramatic fall from power marked the end of her once dominant position in local politics.
Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard is mounting a re-election bid. Henyard made the announcement in a post on her Facebook.
Unsurprisingly, Tiffany Henyard did not accept her defeat at the Thornton Township Democratic Caucus quietly. The embattled leader stormed out of the venue in a fury, vowing to sue everyone involved and vehemently claiming the process was rigged and unlegal. Henyard directed her outrage at her political rival, State Senator Napoleon Harris, who also serves as the Thornton Township Democratic Committeeman. Henyard's supporters echoed her indignation, with one vocal ally branding the caucus as fraudulent and accusing organizers of voter suppression. Henyard alleged that the event was deliberately orchestrated to undermine her candidacy, claiming that last-minute rule changes were designed to disqualify her slate. She specifically cited the absence of a certified assessor on her ticket, arguing it was a technicality used to sabotage her campaign. However, Harris and his legal team dismissed these accusations, insisting the caucus was conducted fairly and in full compliance with Illinois law. They emphasized that the rules, including the requirement for a certified assessor, had been made publicly available well in advance, and that Henyard's disqualification was due to her team's failure to meet the established criteria. The caucus, which lasted just 7 minutes, culminated in Harris and his slate being unanimously selected, marking a decisive shift in the political landscape of Thornton Township. While Henyard's critics celebrated the outcome as a long-overdue corrective measure against her controversial leadership, her supporters decried the process as a sham, reflecting the deep polarization she has fostered during her tenure. Henyard's dramatic exit, complete with accusations and defiance, was emblematic of her combative leadership style. Some view her as a victim of political maneuvering, while others see her as the architect of her own downfall. The fallout from the caucus underscores not only the tensions surrounding Henyard's administration, but also the broader challenges of governance in a community grappling with allegations of corruption, mismanagement, and fractured leadership. As the political battle continues to ripple through Thornton Township, it remains to be seen whether Henyard can rebound from this latest setback, or if this marks the beginning of the end for her tumultuous political career.
Has reversed some of Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard's decision. At last night's village board meeting, Henyard announced a 30-day temporary...
Tiffany Henyard's mounting controversies have deepened in the wake of the recent Thornton Township Democratic Caucus fallout. During her tenure as mayor of Dalton and township supervisor, Henyard has been embroiled in numerous scandals, including allegations of embezzlement, misuse of public funds, and extravagant spending. One particularly shocking inquiry revealed that Henyard spent $43,000 on Amazon in a single day, using a township credit card. Other investigations have accused her of using public funds for first-class travel, upscale dining, and even personal beauty treatments. Reports also claim that township-owned vehicles were frequently used to transport Henyard and her associates to private events, including political fundraisers and shopping trips. Insiders have alleged that Henyard's office staff regularly performed personal tasks unrelated to government operations, such as organizing private gatherings and managing her personal schedule. These revelations have sparked outrage among residents, with critics accusing Henyard of treating public funds as her personal piggy bank. Calls for deeper investigations have grown louder, fueled by the perception that her administration is rife with corruption. At a contentious village board meeting last night, Henyard attempted to push forward a 30-day temporary appointment, though some of her decisions were overturned by the county court. Critics, who have labeled her the worst mayor in America, point to her lavish spending and authoritarian leadership style as evidence of her unsuitability for office. Even former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, brought in as a special investigator to assess Dalton's finances, found the situation troubling. Preliminary investigations revealed that Dalton's general fund balance plummeted from over $5 million in 2022 to just over $3 million by mid-2024. The FBI's ongoing investigation into Henyard's financial dealings has already implicated several of her allies, including a former deputy police chief recently charged with bankruptcy fraud. Public sentiment has turned sharply against Henyard, with residents voicing frustration over her actions. She didn't just mismanage funds, she blatantly took tax money and lavished it on herself. Despite mounting criticism, Henyard continues to cast herself as a victim of political sabotage. She claims her removal from the caucus and the ongoing legal battles are part of a conspiracy to silence her. During a recent public meeting, she defiantly declared, "I refuse to sit back and be silent against injustice." While some of her remaining allies believe she could still run as a write-in candidate, her political future looks increasingly bleak. Henyard currently holds 2 public payroll positions, but both are under threat due to ongoing lawsuits, investigations, and public outrage. Even her role as mayor of Dalton faces a fierce re-election battle, as opposition from Dalton and Thornton Township residents grows. The stakes are high, with many demanding new leadership and citing Henyard's controversial decisions and combative demeanor as reasons for change. As the odds stack against her, Henyard's defiance remains unwavering. Will her refusal to back down save her political career, or will it deepen her troubles further? Is Tiffany Henyard a victim of political sabotage, or is she finally being held accountable for her actions? Her story is far from over, and the next chapter promises to be as dramatic as the last.